Alright, Andrew here with Drake Custom Base, and today's project is we're making a kind of a zero fret. This base did not originally have a zero fret, and the customer has requested somehow that I get a zero fret put in here. Now this here, there is a product out there on the market now that I won't mention names, but it's already been invented. The thing is, I don't think they make a product that I can actually just buy and drop in here. This is a 5-string bass, and anyway, I decided to do a quick mock-up here using the original nut that was in there. The slots are way worn out, things like that, but I'm going to use this to demonstrate what I'm planning to do and how I make this. As you can see, there's a fret that's actually just kind of squished in there. It's not actually glued in place or anything. At the end of the fretboard. This fretboard actually ends right there, and the nut. It was a conventional nut to start with. And so what I've done, let me remove the fret here. There we go. So what I've done is notched the original nut down, and then you could see, let me get my pointer here, you could see that I've actually created a recess that creates a space for the fret to actually seat in between the nut once it's glued in place, and it rides right over the edge of this the nut. These only act as a string guide. In this case, I can't use the original nut, which I was hoping that I would be able to, but I can't because the strings were just way too loose in there. And this nut's, it's pretty worn out. So we're just going to build a new one. And so what I've done, I have a blank. I made the blank to fit into the slot. I measured over because my fret wire will cover, will cover a certain portion. So I just measure over far enough that it would clear the edge of where the fret will be. And I marked it with, I just scribed with my pencil, made a mark, and I've taken my fine saw and started a channel there. Then I've put the nut actually into the slot, and then with the tape protecting the fingerboard surface, I use a flexible saw that can be bent to follow, and I just pull a few strokes across there to start, just to get the start on this channel here. And I'm going to finish it up off of the instrument. I just want to mark some spots, because once I've cut through and removed that piece, I will put it back into place, probably glue it into place, and I use a seating file like this with smooth edges to finish it up, bring it down, leaving the tape in place to protect the fingerboard from scratches. I will finish up working that, because it is a radius. Just back and forth, a little bit at a time. It's got to be getting pretty close. So at this point, I'm just kind of slowly pulling this across. There we go. So now that's removed. Let me get a better angle here. Okay. So now that that's been notched away, I will use my seating file to carefully bring this down flush. This ledge here flush with the fingerboard. Next step then will be I might work this down a little bit. It's rather high, but I'll work it down a little bit on this edge. This edge is about the right height. And I will mark and slot the marks for the fret slots. And since I have the strings and everything I'm going to use, I'll probably go ahead and just fit without the fret in place. And then once it's down to where I know the fret slots will be deeper than the 0 fret, then I will take the strings back off, knock it loose, finish up all the other adjustments, and then I'll work on that little recess for the fret tang on the side of the nut itself, and that way the fret tang will press between the edge of the fingerboard and into that slot. You'll notice that the tang is on the outside of the fretboard edge. That is very important. We don't want to notch into the fretboard for a couple reasons: intonation, and this is all reversible. A regular conventional nut can go back in. So I had to create that little recess so that the tang goes down. On these, I tend to strip the barbs off and just set them in there with a little bit of glue. There's just a little bit here, a little glue on the far end, and maybe just a tiny drop in the middle. And that just keeps everything down. The pressure of the strings is going to keep it from working itself out. I have more cleanup work to do here on the edge, and I'll put some oil back over once I'm all done for cleanup work. I got some polishing to do, things like that. I just have the strings back on just to check that everything is correct. There's plenty of all the strings break over the crown of the fret, so, and the angle downward, so I know there's not going to be, because if you don't, for example, if it rides up on the nut, it will rattle against this. So you want to make sure this is the contact line, and the very top of this fret, the crown, right down the center, should be exactly parallel to the edge of this fretboard, and that's the intonation line. So yeah, that's basically it. Like I said before, there are products on the market that do this very thing here. For my case here, for this repair modification, I had to make my own, and so this is the method I used. And give it a try and let me know in the comments how it works for you. Okay, we're nearing the finish line on this modification. The Peavey Cirrus 5-string, where I made the 0 fret nut combination. The customer also asked for a truss rod cover, so I made one of those this morning. And we're all refretted with stainless steel. The wear and tear on the fingerboard's all been cleaned up, resurfaced the fingerboard, oiled it. I did clean a lot of the cheese and grime out of the grain of this Wengi top bass body. This bass has been well played. You can see the thumbnail wear. It's actually worn through the cover of the pickup here. You can see more finger wear. It's pretty remarkable. Just how much this bass has been played. But I think after the work we did this weekend, I think this bass has a lot of life left in it. Still sounds great. The action is insanely low. It's nice. It speaks nice and clear. There's no rattle or anything like that going on.